All right, back up and running. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It is time for It's time for me to get my desk cleared off. Goodness gracious, I have so many books and things and crap cluttering. This is what happens when you're writing curriculum constantly. I know it looks all pristine and clear from your perspective, but man, everything in front of me is just a total mess. Um, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. It's basically the Shane Williams hour. Shane is dominating the feedback loop this week. And this is a bit of it's a bit of an expected week. Everybody's been kind of slow getting out of the gate. Thanksgiving turkey hangovers. But it's been really great. I've met with most of you this week. Met with Tejal and I want to say Eve yesterday. Yeah, Eve. I had a great call with Eve, actually. So been meeting with most of you throughout the week. I'm super excited to get you all back in here. That thing where I started on the wrong screen. I apologize about that. Anyway, all right, let's see here. Is it time? It's time. Couchbot has fired. So it's time to go ahead and get the feedback loop underway. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's a lovely Friday, end of the week. And we've got Shane here. We're going to take a look at Shane in a minute. I had to restart my machine because I got to be honest with you. I think the latest Figma update just messed with my machine just a bit. I lost the ability to pinch and zoom. And if I can, I'm just going to switch screens and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you've ever watched me work through Figma, we're here in Shane's project. You'll notice that I do this a lot, and without the ability to do that, like the ability to zoom in and out, I don't know how to use Figma anymore. It's like I have to have pinch and zoom. I just can't do it any other way, and I don't really actually know how to do it like with just a mouse. So I'm not sure really how I would operate with a mouse doing this. I'm so used to just operating with my fingers on the trackpad, which is weird because normally, I'm drawing in Figma. Anyway, yesterday Figma had like a really cool update, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's auto layout, and auto layout. I'm just going to give you a really quick overview of it. Let's take this bit of text here, and I'm going to put some type on it. We'll say type here, and this type here, I'm going to go ahead and center it, and let's make it bold, and let's make it like 24 point, and there you are. You have type here, and actually I'm just going to make it left. The zoom in here on it. The change that happened yesterday was auto layout, and auto layout basically there's a new element here in the drop down for add auto layout, and what's going to happen is in the elements panel to the right we're going to get some new controls, and in these new controls you can see auto layout here. There's horizontal layout, and basically this is mirroring Flexbox. So we'll take a peek at this here in just a minute. But you'll see like now there's this space around it, and if we hop in here to the frame, I'm pretty sure that like we can add like color to the background. So you can change the color and whatnot. But what's really cool, we'll go with like I don't have my colors in here per se, but we'll just focus in here on making this, pretty standard stuff. What's cool about auto layout is the ability for it to magically morph the shape to the content within. So if I said new content, now that box that's containing the button is going to change with the size of the button. This is really cool when you start thinking about things like when you duplicate a frame, it moves it over just a bit, and I'm going to duplicate it again, and so now we have these this new content. If I were to grab all of these and add auto layout to them, what you'll find is that now these should, if I'm doing this correctly, these should just adjust across. So the layout just magically adjusts. And another thing that I really love about this is horizontal. If I switch to vertical, it goes vertical. Like this is just nutty cool stuff. I'm going to get into this more next week. The weekly workshop next week is going to be all on auto layout, because I want to dig in deeper to auto layout. It literally came out yesterday, and I want to have a deeper conversation around all the great things that it does. It clearly is Figma once again pushing forward and doing something really cool. But I am, having played with it literally like 30 minutes yesterday, I don't have a lot to share with it yet. Figma does have a video on their site that dives into it more, but I will have tested it, particularly with other plugins and whatnot, for the weekly workshop on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to come back over here to Shane's case study and take a look at what he's got going with Hello Neighbor. And it looks like Shane has, so he's switched out his images down below, and he's simplified. He's going through and simplifying the design. We talked about this a bit yesterday on the feedback loop in how the case study process is really one of editing. You're editing. You wrote this case study. You've got a long case study. You got all these images. You're not really sitting here trying to make the longest case study possible. You start with a main file, and you always want to have that be as detailed as possible. But in the case study itself, we're wanting to prune, edit as we go to make this a cohesive picture of what you actually did, while highlighting the things that you're really proud of. You get a sense of what the Hello Neighbor branding was like before. You get a sense of like the idea. It started from Sketch and then went to wireframe. You're getting to see the progression. Who was involved. You get to see the progression of this application. And I think overall, I really do believe Shane did a really good job with Hello Neighbor. So what I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and take a look at the code to see how far he made it yesterday. So let's go ahead and go over to VS Code. I've already checked status. We'll just do that one more time. It's clean, so I'll get pull origin master. And Shane has made some updates. And I know that Shane mentioned that he had some merge issues yesterday. So I'm going to keep an eye out for any of those merge problems as well. Let's go ahead and go live. Let's go ahead and go live. Firefox is firing back up because, again, I had to restart my machine. I simply did not have anything available to me. The pinch and zoom left me. So let's go look at work. And here's the Hello Neighbor redesign. Introduction, problem, solution. He also mentioned that he made some adjustments yesterday with regard to mobile, not mobile, Mobile, Alabama, mobile. And I can definitely see right away that those changes are in here. I want to look at this in terms of we'll throw it on the iPhone 10. You get an idea of what it looks like. I'm glad to see it. We got rid of the wiggle. This is where so Shane, we added space. Yesterday it was all about, okay, can we get this type down to a reasonable size? And when you look at it now versus where we were yesterday, which was here, if you get, it's just in a world. It's just a completely different spot. However, now we've got the spacing to the top and bottom. So I want to go in here and inspect element on introduction, and I'm going to go to main text, and I'm going to go to intro, and I'm going to go to this content container, and I'm going to go to main, and where is that space coming from? Okay, so header. So header has a margin bottom of 8 rem. I think you could get that down to, you could probably just remove it for mobile. So I would suggest removing it for mobile. That's just a media query thing. And then as we get in, I think on these section IDs, you could actually probably turn that spacing off for mobile. And you can see it just, it tightens it up a little. But I think it's okay for mobile. So, Shane, one of the things I'd like to see you do is go through and the spacing that you added in for sections and below this hero unit, I think those can really be adjusted now. So we're looking at stakeholder findings, comp analysis, personas. Here's your personas. Yeah, this is coming together pretty nicely. And I can see that's kind of the end of it. Let's go ahead and close this down. Let's take a look at it here in the hi-fi. The hi-fi. It's a laptop. Yeah, Shane, overall I feel like you've got everything in here that we wanted to do yesterday. It appears like you switched out the images below. So yeah, the six are there. No, we haven't switched out these images. Okay, so those style guides still have to come in. You sorted that out. You simplified that. So yeah, Shane, when we compare here to where you're at on your prototype, it looks like you have like maxed out your progress toward the end of the case study, and now it's like you've got to really finish up this case study. The other thing that we could be doing right now, so if you're at a spot where you're like, well, I can't do anything more on the case study because I haven't finished the case study, you could always turn your attention back to the home page. I just want to see where you're at with the home page overall, and right now there's nothing below here. So if I were to come back into the code and take a peek at it, here's your head, you got your slip links and your header, and there's just nothing down here. So I think the next thing that I would suggest doing, while you're working on getting the rest of your case study in there, I would really begin working on this part of it, because you have an idea of what you would like to do, and I think that spending the time to get the content in here so that you can begin pushing forward, rather than you check the introduction heading now that you remove the dot header. Can you check the introduction heading now? Let me take a look at that. So you're talking about this. So introduction's fine there, but where I was talking about removing the Shane had a question. Where I was talking about removing that was for mobile. And when we come over here, and we've got this, it's not on main, it's on header, and we put margin bottom, it just comes up. So so I think you're in a good spot to remove that. Let's just go ahead and do that while we're here. so we can see what happens. Let's go to here. Let's go to, let's find header. So there's header. It appears that like that's actually being added after. So let's go ahead and note that out. So it's gone there. Let's close it. It's gone there. So maybe, I mean, maybe you just don't need that padding. It's not necessary in any spot. Like it grows there. So I'm guessing there must be some sort of header sizing. Like I got vertical height here of 100 vertical height, but yeah, I'm not sure where that's, you know, because when I turned it off, it went away there. Let's see if it's coming from somewhere else at a larger size. Yeah, no, it still says it's coming from header. Yeah, maybe it's that 100 vertical height, but header should be. Yeah, header should be. That's interesting. I want to look inside of header now because it seems like there's div background. It seems like this section might have. Okay, so width, margin. It feels like there's a specific height being added to something. Okay, here's hero. Hero has 80 vertical height. Interesting. Okay, so that's where the issue is. So header has 100 vertical height. If I get rid of that, like introduction comes right up to the bottom. And obviously that's too close. So I totally get. So let's get away from header being 100 vertical height. Let's focus down here on hero, because I understand hero being 80, and then from that perspective, I understand wanting to have a margin bottom. Oops, I gotta get margin bottom on it to knock that down. But when your header is 100% of the vertical height, then it becomes a problem. So now, it's a problem at the smaller size. So what I'm going to say is we're going to switch this. We're going to move it up here. We're going to get rid of that height of 100. And then, we'll switch it to something a little more appropriate. So 4. And then we'll say none for everything below, that size. And so we've gotten rid of it. We come up larger in size. It should come back for us. Yeah, it's just let's just change it to min with I'm not saving it. Might be that I can't put none there. Yep, I can't use, when I declare a actual value, I can't put none. I have to put a numeric value in there. Yeah, let's take a look at that as well. But so we got rid of the header size. I don't necessarily like that. Like it works okay. It works okay for me below that size. Maybe 4 is really just what we need all the way across. So you've got it there at 4. It's there at 4. Yeah, I think it was just too large prior to that. Perhaps what we need to say is it's 8 rem here. It's 2 rem. Oh goodness, where did it go? 2 rem here. So let's come back over. I've jumped it around. 4 rem. 2 rem. Or actually, sorry, 8. It kicks up to 8 on large screens. So here's this. We go up larger. It should, yep. It goes smaller. Does the thing. It seems like, I mean, call me crazy, but it seems like this Hello Neighbor, because of the sizing of it, it almost feels like it wants to be aligned with the it wants to be aligned with this information down here, just because it's very small by itself. So I'm, something to think about. I know you've got it aligned like that because of this, because of how it's working on the front, but it is something to consider. Let's take a look really quickly at this margin right. It says margin right to section text P. So I want to find an example of section text P. I'm pretty sure if I inspect this element, there's section text P, and it says that's weird. Let's refresh. Okay. I did something there that made it go away. So there's enter. You said that you've got padding right. It must be something that kicks in a media query. I don't see a padding right. Let's go take a look. So there's section text. Section text. I don't see a section text P. Yeah, Shane, I'm not seeing it. And I pulled, so I definitely. I guess my question is, did you push? Because I recognize your question. Why can't you used padding right? I'm just gonna look for padding right. So I see it on the content container. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, that makes sense. It's on content container. It's not actually on it's on the not on the other. So let's see what happens when I turn this off. So I turned it off, and oh, okay. I see. It goes right up. It goes right up to the edge. Yeah, that's bizarre. Typically speaking, I don't. So I wouldn't necessarily look at it like this. I just want to get rid of both of those for a second. Like this, I would just like right now you've got image container, and I would simply say like 92. I just adjust the width and get away from that margin left right at all, because if I adjusted this width and I said 80, that gets you significantly wider right away. But if it was set to 96, and 96, I can see where that's too tight. So that's 2% on each side. So if I said I wanted to double that, I'd go to 92. So that's now 4% on each side. And there you are. And you have to remember, like, when people are scrolling, you don't want to have it go right up to the edge of the frame, because we're in mobile when we're scrolling. But you don't have to have it like way in, because I mean your thumb's not over, and you just move your thumb a little bit, and you're typically reloading that thumb to scroll on anyway. Or you're using a finger, depending on the person. Most people use their thumb. But I would just adjust it on width, and I wouldn't do anything. I'm just gonna delete that for you because you don't need it. Okay. So Shane, really the thing I need to see from you, is I would love to see you jump in here. Oh yeah, you said you wanted to change this. Hello neighbor. For some reason, I've got the Bob Newhart show theme in my head. I was never old enough to watch the Bob Newhart show. So it says hello neighbor. Okay, so if we said, instead of heading container, we just said content container, that should move it in, and it did. All right. So that's fixed. No big deal. What I really want to see from you, Shane, is I want to see the bottom of this. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's also switch these images out. And then the most important thing I believe over the weekend is, hey, let's get this going. I need to see the links to the other projects. And while you're doing that, I'm going to come back over here to Figma and just geek out on auto reload and say Shane is awesome. And yeah, I'm going to do that. So without further ado, I'm Chris Courtney, Feedback Loop, New Pragmatic. I look forward to seeing all of you again on Monday. Hopefully, I will drop new typography videos over the weekend. I have 2 in the hopper that need to be edited, so I'm going to go do that basically now. Take care. And actually, Shane, wait. Pause. Chris forgot to do something. Now the show's over. See ya. Every freaking time. I pushed. See ya.